I've almost ripped my own head off, I'm going to hit record, and we'll just we'll just try not to die. Well, I'll try not to die.
I make no such promises.
If you see anything odd about a viewer location, I've got my VPN currently set to Switzerland. I don't even know where I would see viewer locations, but duly noted. Because I don't have any viewers or listeners that I'm aware of in Switzerland, but,
Hmm.
if you're listening to this and you're in Switzerland, then let me know. Yeah, actually, if you're outside the US and you listen to this or watch this, whichever, then, let us know, because I'm always curious to see where we get to. Like, I know we've got Bonsai in, where is he? One of the Scandinavian countries, but I always screw up which one.
Hmm.
And we've got a couple of, oh, we've got a couple of listeners in Australia. I know we've got one in Hawaii. We used to have some in England, but I don't know if any of them still listen.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Jar showed up from the Philippines last week. That was really cool.
Yeah,
Hadn't seen Jars in a hot minute.
I've always been a fan of jars.
It's because Jars is awesome. He made our pretty pictures.
Yup, yup, yup.
Ouch. Anyway,
I love my pretty picture.
yeah, you do. But I guess that's long enough filling, so I'm almost certainly not going to cut any of that out if it's there for the audio version. So, hello! We are doing a Just Chatting episode because reasons. We were going to start a new thing and then decided against starting the new thing because reasons.
Yeah, this just wouldn't have it in us.
I am in favor of trying that new thing when we're up for it.
Yep.
Uh, uh,
That's
well,
part
here
of the
we
reason
go.
right there.
Mm. So, PSA, we're recording now?
Yeah, we're all good.
Yeah. So, PSA, guess what? COVID-19 still exists. Um,
Now, what would lead you
and
to say that?
I don't know. Maybe the fact that I've known a couple people that have gotten it, and then on what day was that? Yeah, it was yesterday. I had to take my car to the dealership for a new part. There's a little plastic part the under your car at the front that keeps debris and stuff from hitting the underside of your car, and mine kind of came off and was being dragged. So I need a new one. So that was already a thing. And Dad called as like, "What was the damage?" And I said what it was. They quoted me at 280, which I thought, oh, that's not bad. Dad had me thinking it was going to be like a grand or more. And then when I picked it up, they're like, "Yeah, our quote was a little high, so 230." And I'm like, "Sweet." Kind of the opposite of other problems lately. But then he was like, "Oh, by the way, I need to borrow a COVID test, except not borrow because you're not getting it back.
Duh.
Your mother has COVID. She's okay. She's tired, gunky. She, being a retired pharmacist, took this very seriously. So I had kind of slacked off a bit lately because it was supposed to be done, but she had it. So Dad wanted a test, and he was talking about like should he come to get her? What? I'm like, no, you stay home. I went home in my newly fixed car, grabbed a test, went to his house, put it on his doorstop, and called him and said the test is out there because
Like the
I'm
truth.
getting I'm getting ready for kind of a big thing with some other members of my family that I'm not going to go into detail with, but I don't want to get COVID, but especially now. And in fact, Carrie and I said, you know what? We got the first round of boosters. We hadn't gotten the second. So we got signed up, us and Sam, who was less than enthusiastic about it, but she's never like getting shots. Side note, I don't know who really likes
I
getting
was about to
shots.
say
But
nobody
anyway.
likes getting shots.
No, but she really doesn't. But she was a trooper for it. So we went to she went to her youth group for church, and then we went over to CVS and got shot. The three of us. Carrie seems to be the best off. Sam has said she's felt kind of lightheaded and had a couple dizzy spells today, but otherwise she's okay. And my arm is still sore, which is a bit if, and tired. Just tired. I was letting them know. I'm like, I'm probably not going to make it too long tonight. And I'm sitting here, and I'm going to participate. As, I'm not doing that, I swear. I'm going to participate as long as possible. There may come a time in the next half an hour, where I'm like, I'm done. Good night. You guys have a good one. Um, just exhausted more than else. No other symptoms, and I don't regret getting it. It's the responsible thing to do. No, the cure is not worse than the disease. All those other crap phrases that I was tired of hearing 2 years ago. This is worth it. Do it. Think of it like the no. Nobody complains about getting the flu. Well, okay, some people probably complain about getting the flu shot, but most people see it as just something you need to do. Hopefully, in time, that's something how everybody will just view this as you go in once or twice a year, you get it done, and they won't have all the controversy about it because it's a disease that they have a vaccination for, and you don't want to get sick, so you should get it. I
Seems
know this
kind
is
of
like
a
mind blowing stuff.
no-brainer, doesn't it?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It shouldn't have
Oh,
been political to begin with. Yes.
also, well, this is unrelated to you. Pinball's resubbed for 70 months, and she said 70 months? That's almost 1 year. Damn near
Pretty
it.
close.
So thank you.
Shoot, I've got to call this client back. He's taking a deal where he's gonna do about 72 months in prison. I need to let him know that's almost a
Yeah,
year.
that's only
I have him
like
scared.
a year, man.
Yeah, I gotta call him back quick. And then I need to call my malpractice carrier.
Ow.
So, but I mean, otherwise I'm doing okay. I'm looking forward to this thing that I'm gonna be doing with Sam and Carrie, and as well as some other family members, and I will get into details about that later, like in a couple weeks. But and I think mom and dad are doing okay. I offered to run out, get them whatever they need. They have some food delivered, and otherwise they keep a pretty good stock, so they're good to go. So kind thoughts are welcome, but they seem to be doing okay, and we're trying to be responsible on our end. Otherwise, work for me right now is just I like my job, but work is a slog, and I just have a couple difficult clients, and I'm just trying to get through. Um, so that was, but I was a part of why we decided not to try this new and interesting segment that I guarantee you we will come back and do later. And then Chewy was also not really feeling up for it. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'm just in a foul mood, and that is not a
Yeah.
good time to be starting a new, potentially recurring segment.
Did you get the reference I made with the fiendish organization for world larceny?
I did not. Was that a Darkwing
That's
Duck
the
thing?
it is, and I think it's the crossover with Ducktales as well.
Yeah.
So Steelbeak and um, those sorts of people, and it's a big part of the remake series. So
Which was awesome.
which we're rewatching it. So which Carrie was like, we should watch new things, and Sam is just like, she could watch the remakes of DuckTales and Carmen San Diego like just on repeat. Just finish one, start the next one.
Damn right.
So yeah.
Oh, hey, Pinball threw 70 bits. Said a bit for each month. Man, that's a year's worth of bits, almost.
So, but anyway, so you're in a foul mood,
Yeah,
not
I mean,
like pigeons.
life sucks. Everything sucks all the time. Like, I've had an amazing bit of luck the last month or so. So, of course, things had to take a turn, but that's how it works. At
This
least
is the
that's how it works for
balance,
me.
the karmic balance.
I guess. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I've been a decent enough person to where karma's still screwing me here, but whatever. But anyway, that's not important for the purposes of this stream. Hey, I did go see Barbie.
How was it?
It was awesome.
Awesome.
Like it was really good. I highly recommend Barbie to anyone who isn't a right wing dickhead. Like, the fact that all the right wing dickheads hate Barbie is probably a good sign. Like, they hated the Mario movie too, which means the Mario movie was good.
Oh, that's weird that they hated the Mario movie.
Well, it had Peach not being kidnapped and in a dress. She was wearing pants and, had agency, so they can't have that.
That's weird.
She wasn't making Mario a sandwich.
Exactly. That is what it boils down to. She did not bake Mario a cake. That whore.
I was telling Chewy in the car that when I heard about the Barbie movie, I wasn't like, that sounds stupid, but my impression was originally like, who's this being made for? Like, is there really that much of a fandom? And I also admit that I didn't really know what the movie was gonna be about. Like, Barbie and Ken are real? Or is it one Barbie or like all the Barbies or whatever? And I still don't know. I've decided I'm probably gonna see it. I don't know that I'm gonna see it in theaters. Um so I'm not looking for like spoilers, but I was really curious of like what's the drive to make this movie. Um and I previews started coming out and I was still like, I don't get it. I don't hate it. I'm not the target audience. And it came out and everybody whose opinions I trust are like, this is great. You should go see it. So, and a box office return is not always mean like, oh, I'm going to love that movie. But it did gangbusters. It made what, 155 million in its first weekend, and it's continued to do well, which is an even better sign, honestly, because people are voluntarily seeing it again, which is not something you do for every movie. Oh, so probably see it. Dirk or Mike, have you guys seen it?
Nope, haven't gotten around to it. I'm interested.
Dirk's muted again.
No, I received a random phone call, so sorry, what was the question?
Have you seen Barbie, or do you intend to see Barbie, or not?
I'm not really interested in seeing Barbie. I don't really go out to movies much. The only movie I went out to was the Mario movie, and that was purely because of kids. And it was
Fair
awesome.
enough.
See?
It was worth it.
It really was. It was really good.
I'm trying to remember what the next movie that I'm excited to see in theaters is. I'm excited for Ahsoka, but I watched all of Legends, but that's not a movie.
No.
Sometimes I almost get confused with these things. What's the next Marvel movie coming out?
I think, is the Marvels the next one?
Ooh, I am looking forward to that.
Yeah, that
'Cause
looks
I'd
really
like
good.
to-
I saw a new trailer for it in front of Barbie, and I'm more hyped for it than I was.
I liked Captain Marvel. I liked what's it called? WandaVision, that one of the characters was introduced in.
Yep.
And I really, really liked Miss Marvel. So yeah, that sounds like a pretty good time. I guess I need to go ahead and finish Secret Invasion before then.
I don't know. I mean, you've got a few months, so I don't think there's a rush.
I feel like there was something coming out this weekend, but I don't remember what it was. I don't follow movies as much as I used to. I used to be a big movie guy, but still like them. Just don't follow them the way I used to.
Yeah.
It's
Excuse
August,
me.
yo.
I know.
I went to the calendar on my fridge. It's one I got from my friend that I go to church with. It's a realtor, and she hands out the little, peel off a month at a time calendars that go in your fridge. Um, and I realized it was still on May. This was
Oops.
yesterday. Because time this year is just weird and or dumb. But it's August. My kid goes back to school at the end of the month. Dirk, without telling us where your kids go to school, when do they go back?
One of them it has gone back. One of them has been in school for about 2 weeks now.
For 2 weeks. Oh, that's right. You said that uh, they're in an all-year program,
Every
or am
year,
I
One
not?
or
one of
every
them is
time
in
this
a
comes
year-round
up,
school.
Brian acts like he's never heard it before.
I'm telling you, my mind is super slippery these days. Yeah.
So yeah, one is in a year-round program, and the other two start back in August. I think the 27th.
Well, that's a Sunday, so probably the 28th.
28th.
Unless you are
Yes.
driving your kids to school on a Sunday, in which case, more power to you.
I know so normally schools can't start until the 25th because of a really dumb law that the state has on the books.
Dumb
Um,
laws? No.
yeah,
Anyway, keep going.
but yeah, normally the traditional school calendar is not supposed to start until August 25th or later, and so I think the 25th is like a Friday
It is,
or
yeah.
something like that. And so they're like, yeah, we're not starting on a Friday. We'll start on the following Monday. And so that's why they'll start on, I guess, the 28th, you said.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's when uh, their school year officially starts.
I really think that, weighing all of the pros and cons, I really think that like the year-round school idea is a better system. Like
I have an uncle.
for the
Sorry.
students, for the teachers, for everybody, rather than having like this 2 or 3 month chunk of the year where you're like, the hell do I do with my kids? Just every however often you get like 2 weeks off.
Uncle who was a principal for a very long time, like just a super long time. And
1,006 years.
just about, sorry, Uncle Don. And he is a big believer in the year-round school program. He thinks it's a lot more conductive toward not only learning but mental health and uh, mental wellness. I have a cousin whose kids they live in London, and I believe it's year-round, but they also do like they have different names for the grades because they've like I think they've been in high school for several years because high school starts earlier there. And I'm not gonna be able to say the correct thing, so I'm just gonna shut up about it. But
Fat chance
yeah,
of that. I mean, what?
Dirk, are you in favor of year-round school
Um, I
as a
the answer
teacher?
is yes. Like I think it's a pretty good model because there's um, less that you forget over the summer. And the way that his school works is that it's 9 weeks on, and I think it's 3 weeks off, or it's like 2 weeks off, and then the summer you get an extra little bit of time off for the end of the school year. But um, yeah, I think it essentially comes out to you. There's a 9 week semester, and then they have a 2/3 week break, and then that's what they run for the year round. So essentially, you put in all the time, and then you get this nice long break. Where if you want to do like a family vacation, you've got 3 weeks to plan the vacation in 2/3 weeks.
Yeah, I swear I think the only reason that people here in the States don't don't think it's a good idea is just because they've never tried it.
Yeah, it's because it's not the way it's always been done.
Yeah. And goodness knows in the
We are.
US, if it's not tradition, then it's stupid. God, I hate it
Oh, yeah.
here. Uh, but like, you don't get the burnout either, where all year it's go, 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 go. You get a day off. You get 2 days off. Go, go. And then you just stop for like a chunk of the year. Like, it seems like that's harder on teachers. And I know it's harder on students because I was one. And having like go for a grading period and then have a break and then go for a grading period and have a break just seems better for everybody. Like if a teacher falls behind, they've got like 2 weeks there to get caught back up and not have to stress about it. Whereas with a normal school year, Dirk can back me up on this, you don't have any time to catch up. You have to invent time to catch up. This is where I would have expected Dirk to inject something, but you know, it's Dirk.
I mean,
He
it's
said no.
I mean, and then the funny part is too is they're the first semester sometimes runs differently than second semester. So normally you would think, okay, you have the same number of days in each semester. That's not true. First semester, I think for us, usually is shorter than second. So that means if you have your class like perfectly planned out and everything, your plans will run differently. It's not only because of the holidays and holidays difference and everything, but literally there's a different number of days between the two semesters.
Excuse me. Well, that's awkward.
Yeah, I've had a semester where, like, first semester, I'm going, oh my gosh, I swear I had more time to get through all this stuff. And so I was scrambling to try and get through, to review and everything, only for second semester to be like, oh my gosh, I have, like, forever. Where do these 5 extra days come from? Only to realize, oh yeah, there's not the same number of days in each semester. Just the state law says that there have to be a certain number of school days in a school year.
I knew
How they're
about that
broken
one.
out is not the same.
Yeah.
Well, that's awkward. But yeah, especially since I've started this whole self-employment thing, like burnout is real.
Okay.
And looking back, I dealt with a lot of burnout in school and just didn't realize it because that's just the way things were.
Yeah, you're just taught like, well, that's just you just need to work harder or smarter, not harder, or
Yeah.
whatever. You just
Pay
deal
more
with it.
attention.
Yeah, dummy. You're just expected to put up with it, bite your lip, get through it. And what are you gonna do? Complain? That's not productive.
Which, I mean, I still did. And still do. Ha! But yeah. How did we get on school? Oh, because Sam is going back to school later, and yeah. That's how we got on this.
Yeah. Yep.
I love trying to track our conversation sometimes.
Is it kind of
Sometimes pretty easy, sometimes not so much, huh?
there
What
are
were you gonna
times
say,
when
Dirk?
it kind of felt like back in the day when you do like a Wikipedia chain, where you would just,
Oh,
all right,
God.
let's see what's on today's. Oh, let me click on this, and then by the time you get done, you're like 15 links in on a Wikipedia chain, just going, where did this start? Like, I'm on a rope. How did I get on a rope? Only to be like, oh, in this chain, it took you all the way back to, today's event was, the Battle of the Bastille or the Fall of the Bastille or something like on Bastille Day, and somehow you end up on a rope.
You know, like you do. Huh. Falling down a wiki hole. Yeah.
Is that what it was called? A wiki hole?
Yeah, wiki hole.
Yeah.
I always think it was like a chain, because it's just like one chain, one link right after another. See what I did there? Link, chain.
I was gonna make a Zelda joke, but
Wait, why would you make a Zelda joke? The main character's name is Zelda.
I know I felt like I could connect it somehow, but I'm tired, so. Stupid compass. Who wants the compass? The compass does you literally no good.
I love the compass.
You are the only person.
Wait,
ever.
which game are we talking about?
Any of them.
Like in the first one, the compass was useful because it lets you know which room had the boss in it. Which I guess you could tell when you got to the room next door because you could hear it breathing. But
and I guess maybe I am compulsive. Like I clear the dungeons if there's if I find there's a room that I haven't been to, I go there. So the compass doesn't do me much good because I'm just gonna go everywhere anyway. I suppose
there's a treasure chest.
Wait, say that again?
But it shows you if there's a treasure chest.
Depending on the game.
Yeah, I don't.
But again, I'm gonna go in all of them anyway. So.
What did the compass do in Link to the Past? It showed you where the boss and the big treasure was.
Treasure.
Yeah, I don't. Did it show you where the big key was? I can't remember if it did.
I can't remember.
I could see it being useful if you're in a game where maybe, especially the first one, where there were hidden rooms. So if there's a little flashing dot in the rectangle to the right and you're looking and there isn't a rectangle to the right, that could be helpful. But then if you bomb the wall and you still can't go through and it turns out, you had to go all the way across the map and go through a hidden tunnel and get over there, then that still doesn't help because it didn't give you the direction. So.
Well, it does. See, with the 2D Zeldas, it may not have been all that important, but the benefit of the 3D ones is it also told you, well, it's in this room, and when you're going, I don't see where it is, it's a hint of, you're in a 3-dimensional area. It's probably not at ground level.
That is a good.
So it does sort of because imagine like the water temple from
Ocarina of Time. Yeah, everyone's favorite because we all love changing water levels
and having to hit things that will change the water levels and going, okay, did this affect how I'm going to go? Because it's 3 levels. The water level is going to change 3 times. Is it in the right spot for you to progress?
I remember I did a playthrough of the game at one point, and I spent like a half an hour or less in the water temple, and I was like, well, that wasn't too bad. It wasn't my first time running through. And I knew I didn't like it. I felt like I had psyched myself up about it too much. I think I just got kind of lucky. I didn't have to backtrack a lot. But most times when I go in, unless I remember every order to get every chest in, you backtrack. And you have the wait, what level should the water be at? Wait, okay, well, where was the switch? And it's just, I think it's mostly the backtracking that gets super frustrating. No one likes it. It's one of the most reviled dungeons, period. In gaming, let alone in Zelda.
Yeah,
but
the backtracking is just maddening, especially for the rooms where you're trying to find out where that treasure chest is, and you realize you messed up the sequence for raising and lowering the level.
Yep. You're like, okay, I'm in the right room. The compass tells me it's in here, but then I don't see it. And a lot of times the answer is you need to raise the water level, but not every time.
Or it's,
So
yeah, you just didn't realize it. You walked right by it because it's a secret panel that you have to do something to, or there's something you have to do of that sort, or that
or
it's a wall you have
yeah,
to drop a bomb by. That
yeah.
that's one of the examples
Or
with
you have
that.
to hit a switch from a distance with the bow and arrow, but you couldn't see it from the angle you were at. Or you needed the hook shot, but you had the hook shot, but no, you needed the longer hook shot, which was a treasure in the dungeon, but it may take you a while to figure that out.
It's been so long since I played Ocarina of Time. I'm just sitting here going,
Pinball says, favorite game genre has backtracking as one of the core elements of it, and I think that if you are used to it, it's fine. If that's what you've come to expect, it's fine.
I'm
And yes,
thinking
there are
Pinball's talking about the Metroidvania genre, which, yeah, that's baked in. But, like,
yeah,
in a Zelda temple, backtracking, especially with the water level thing, backtracking is
it's usually a sign that
extraneous.
you're missing something. Yeah.
Yeah, backtracking because you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on is different from backtracking because now you have something else that creates emergent gameplay from places you've
Yeah.
been before.
Yeah.
I have the ice beam. Now I can access I remember where I saw this before. That's one thing. Backtracking because you've been through this room 5 times and you still don't have a silver key is infuriating.
Mm.
Ow. Yeah. Yeah.
And like I do distinguish between like backtracking on the open world because that's different. That is part of the gameplay, but in a closed environment where essentially when you go into a dungeon, as long as you have what you need going in, then there's self-contained environments, right?
Yeah.
Like unless you need some item to progress, you go in and you're like, all right, the things you have are good, go explore and get everything you need. When you can't find what you need, it is not because you're lacking something, it's because you missed something. And that's a frustrating experience.
That's a
That
bitch, is what that is.
yeah.
Like, oh my god, I remember when I was streaming the first Legend of Zelda. I don't remember if it was in the first quest or the second quest, but when I got to level 9, there's a loop where if you go a certain way through a certain door, the door closes behind you and there's nothing you can do but keep going, and
It
eventually
gets
it
in
will hit you back to that same room.
I think that's in the first um playthrough, the first quest, because I've recognized what you're saying and I've never finished the second quest. The second quest is kind of BS because it's almost impossible to play without a guide. Now I know, this game came out long before the internet and there were very industrious people who bombed every square inch and lit every bush on fire, and I can probably do more the second one, but in every dungeon, like pushing through fake walls that you can't tell are fake and bombing every square inch for stuff that you just can't tell from the
Yeah.
environment that this is different. That to me is that's not backtracking, that's just the game being cheap. So if you've made it through the second quest, hey, all the more power to you. I lose interest. I've tried before, and somewhere around the second dungeon, I'm just like, I'm not having fun. This is this is not a test of my abilities. This is a test of
Your
how much
patience.
crap I'm.
Of your
Yeah,
patience.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and my attention to extreme minute detail. So,
Which there isn't
yeah.
any as far as bombable or walk throughable walls.
Well, I just mean like remembering. Yeah, I
Oh.
guess memory. Yeah, but then have I bombed this square inch? Because if I'm like a couple pixels off, it's so good, you know? So, I love Zelda games. It may sound like I'm complaining. And Ocarina of Time, I've played to death. And for a long time, I felt like the Water Temple was overhyped as it's not that bad. But then I think back on the experience of my times playing it, and I'm like, it's built to be frustrating. Whether that was what they meant to do or not, the whole process is a frustration engine. So I'm allowed to not like that. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. So when the rest of the game is so awesome, I love the visual style of the Shadow Temple. It is just chef's kiss. When you get on the little ferry and you're like, it feels like you're actually going into the underworld. Boom, just one of my favorite dungeons of all time. Even if the boss really is named like Bongo Bongo or something, maybe takes you out of it a bit. Still really good.
But I don't know why when Mario jumped to 3D, I was all in. But when Zelda jumped to 3D, it just I don't know why. It didn't work for me anymore. I never finished Ocarina of Time. The only other 3D Zelda game I've ever played is Wind Waker, and I loved Wind Waker. But for some reason 3D Zelda just lost something that made it special for my brain.
And that's understandable. Carrie was really into, like, some people are very stereotypical with this. Oh, does your wife play? Does your girlfriend play, or whatever? And not recognizing that women are literally 51% of the population. But Carrie, while she is not a hardcore gamer, as a kid, we would play the heck out of Zelda, especially A Link to the Past. And I think if you're in our generation and you play games, Ocarina of Time is special, but Link to the Past was the first Zelda game that was amazing. The first
Yeah.
Zelda game on the NES was great. The second one was weird, and I've actually grown to appreciate it. The third one was
A masterpiece.
just masterpiece,
100%.
masterclass in game design, just straight up. So, Oracle of Time, I not Oracle of Time, Ocarina of Time, I still really do love, and that is more of, as Chewie said, more of a bridge with the new technology. I guess that's kind of an interesting topic if we wanted to talk about it. Which game series worked well going from 2D to 3D? You might say platformers didn't do terribly well, Castlevania, but Mario did awesome. Super Mario 64 was was a hit. Like,
I mean, Mario 64 defined 3D platformers. Like, it was the first one, it was the best one. So, like, stuff like Castlevania was, like, it has no excuse because a game that came out years before nailed it. They just didn't have the experience and the time and the talent, I'm guessing, to make it work. There are a lot of people these days who, like, will defend the Castlevania, like especially the first two, Castlevania 64 and whatever the follow up to that came out later the same year was, but like they're not good.
yeah, no. I mean, straight up. The second one was better. So they came out with Castlevania 64. It was in development for a while, and I remember seeing some pictures in Nintendo Power of, Castlevania's coming to 3D, but it was always like a character against a solid background. And I thought, that's weird. Wonder when we'll see more, and that was it for a long time. But I think you're right. I think they didn't have the resources. The second one, um, which I'm trying to remember the name of, came out very close to it. I think that's what you're thinking of, and
Yeah,
what the
it
first
was literally
game
later the same year.
yeah, and it was what the first game should have been. And even after you beat the first quest,
Legacy of Darkness.
Legacy of Darkness, thank you. You could basically unlock what was the first game. So the second game was what should have been released. And it was still, okay, I played it. I liked it a lot better, but that's one of those things where like I don't know. You're drinking something and it's literally piss poor, and somebody's like, "Here's actual water," and it's still not good. Like it's grainy and maybe it's got some mud in it, but it's better.
But it's not
Legacy of
urine.
Dark. No, no. So I I, I liked it a lot more, but it too was still not where they needed to be. So I don't know. I don't know if it's the thought of the whip, because the whip as a weapon is just, it's so iconic to the series, but maybe it's hard to get that right. Didn't they did some Castlevanias a while ago that were kind of like soft reboot of the series or whatever, where you
Oh yeah,
played as a
the
Belmont that
what are those called? Crap. The is
I
it
could see it.
Lords of Shadow? Maybe Lord of
Lords of Shadow.
Shadows.
That's right. That's right. Where you play as a Belmont that, spoiler alert for games that have been out for forever. Turns out
Gabriel.
you're actually, yeah, Gabriel in this universe becomes Dracula. And I heard those were very good. I think they were also, combat was more in the God of War style.
Yeah, they're
So maybe
more what's that? Spectacle fighter type games than
pre,
your typical
press
Castlevania.
Press X for a lot of interactive cutscenes. What's that called? Where you're in a cutscene and it's like, there's a word for that, or a
Oh, you're
phrase where.
thinking of QuickTime events.
Thank you. QuickTime events. Yeah, because it's cinematic.
I
So
don't know if that one had QuickTime events like original God of War, but the basic combat was God of War, like straight up.
no, I didn't play them, and I know a lot of people love the Metroidvania style for Metroid games. So I don't know if that was present in those versions or not, or if it was more just, here's a level. And I'm not saying, I know both have their proponents. I'm really trying to stay awake here. Both styles have their fans, and I think in general, for a more fulfilling game, I am a Metroidvania fan, but I am also a huge fan of just every now and then warming up the Wii and playing Super Castlevania 4, just
Well, yeah.
just for awesome platforming. So, what's another game that maybe did not do as well on the Switch to 3D, or maybe did better than people expected?
I mean, most things didn't do well. Like because of Mario 64 and various other games that came out early that did really well, Zelda, like Crash, Bandicoot.
Yeah,
Because of the ones that did well, like all of the game companies were like, "Oh my god, we've got to switch to 3D,"
yeah,
despite the fact that the technology wasn't there and the programming skill wasn't there, and they made a bunch of half-ass games. Like
yeah.
like you said, platformers. So many of the early 3D platformers were just ass.
Just like, I'm thinking of every platformer where there's literally like raising and falling platforms, and in 3D, not, and the figuring out cameras was an ordeal that
Yeah.
developers really had to work on.
Mhm.
And so many of those
Or the
games were
cameras.
just like, how many times can you possibly die to random BS because you didn't realize where the platforms were, you
Okay,
know?
on cameras, since we're talking about that sort of
Here,
transition.
Dark's fired up. Yeah, go ahead.
Resident Evil.
With the fixed cameras.
Yes.
So wait, are you?
See, I didn't.
What about that though?
That transition from 2D and everything to 3D, where the way the original Resident Evils worked is they had these matte sort of backgrounds and everything with a fixed camera, and you're trying to run through this environment with a 3D character and everything. And because of that, how many times did you walk in and be like, okay, I'm walking and walking. There's a zombie in front of you, and you hear the zombie, But it's not until you move forward and the camera shifts to another spot, you're going, oh my gosh, this zombie is like reaching out for me, is about to eat me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
already up my nose. Yeah.
yeah.
But it's all
I
because of the camera angle.
I
And again,
think
it's that transition to, you know, 2D platformer and everything. That wouldn't have even been an issue. You've been like, oh, it's right there as
there's a
you're,
zombie. Yeah.
moving to the right and everything. But that was one of those ways that you could get a game because of the atmosphere of the game of, we're trying to creep you out and everything. Well, what's a way we can creep you out and everything? Well, we're going to put the zombie right in front of you, but because of the camera and the limitations of the hardware at the time, it
Hmm.
adds a level of horror and creepiness to the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
And see, I can see that being a positive when they're like, "Hey, this is the shot you need to see," and it is more cinematic that way. But it can also be a frustrating game
Oh,
for the
it was
player.
frustrating
For the
as all
player,
get go,
yeah.
but
But it was. But you want to talk about cinematic though? The first time I can think of that my dad was not a big gamer, but the first time he was seriously impressed with a game, I had a GameCube, and I rented the Resident Evil 2. I wanted to say remake, but it was just kind of remastered for the GameCube. And he was watching me play, and he's like, "You're watching a movie," and I'm like, "No, I'm really not." That was one of the first games that actually looked
Oh,
so
that would have been the Resident Evil
photorealistic.
1 remake.
yeah.
No, I've never played it,
Because Resident Evil
and
2
I'm
didn't
not.
get any sort of remaster or anything
There
that
were
I'm.
Maybe it was for maybe it was for the 64,
And
there was
the GameCube did get a
and
remake of Resident Evil 1.
Yeah.
okay, this was Resident Evil 2, and it wasn't so much. It wasn't like a remake, like in terms of like top to bottom, but it was more just there was a hardware upgrade and the graphics were cleaned up. It
well,
might have been for the 64, or it might have been for the GameCube.
there was
You
another
know what?
one on
Now
the GameCube. Was it called Code Zero or something, or Resident Evil Zero, or
Was Zero on the GameCube? I never played Zero.
Yes.
yeah?
okay, played Resident Evil 2 and 5 minutes of Resident Evil 3. So I can just say with absolute certainty, just due to limited experience more than anything else. Given the time frame, I want to say it was 64 because part of it was that I was in on this sort of the transition to 3D, and then I went to college and I still played, but I played more on the computer after college, except for a couple key things like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. I really haven't kept up with video games too much. That's why I'm generally about a generation behind on some things. I was up with the Wii, but only because I waited for 4 hours in the morning for a Wii to come out. And even that, I wasn't one of the first ones. It had been out for 6 months to a year, and it was still, So I don't have a PS5. I have a PS4, and that's in a Wii. So many people are like, "Have you
Woo!
played this game for the Switch?" And I'm like, "No, I don't have a Switch." So,
Yeah,
but I
it turns
just
out Resident Evil 2 was on the GameCube, but I don't remember it having any sort of graphical upgrade, really. It was just a port, I thought. So, like, whoever it was that you said was super impressed with the graphics, it
my dad,
concerns me
yeah,
slightly.
it was my dad, and I think compared to one of the
What it
last games
had
he
been
played, what
before
was
that, yeah.
Mario. So, and I don't mean like Mario 2. So, Chifuji knows me, or at least online, and he points out in the comments that I've stayed up with mobile, and yeah, because I do that way more than sitting at home playing games because my phone goes with me. So, and I have spoken on the show before about how I will try lots of different games and event because I don't put money into it. I just drop them when I'm not interested anymore. But
Wait, that
those
reminds me. Are you
because
still playing Snap?
no, I have it on my phone. I have not brought myself to delete it yet, but I haven't touched it in a couple months. I don't know. I kind of started to feel like every game was playing the same, or the games would go literally one of three ways. And I know that's not super uncommon for card games, but I was just losing interest in it.
Yeah.
I'm currently, in addition to the stuff I've been playing for a while, I'm playing a game called Brown Dust 2, which is interesting because a sequel, and
That
the
sounds
first
like
game was
poop.
not. It does, doesn't it? The first game in the series was not called Brown Dust, so I don't know, but it just popped up on my recommended thing, and I'm trying it, and I'm enjoying it for the moment, but I'm almost caught up on the story, and I think when I'm caught up, I don't know, but it's got kind of an interesting sort of tactics feel to it with how combat works. So, but I like trying a lot of different things. Obviously, because mobile only became a thing with Angry Birds and on, 3D had been out for years. So, just going back to what we were talking about, that mobile games were able to benefit from all of the Castlevanias and all that we give some crap to, but the modern games would not exist without the people willing to try it and figure out how to do it well, you
Well,
know?
yeah.
So, yeah. I have always been a fan of RPGs, and having the Super Nintendo 64 was kind of tough because the PlayStation was getting Final Fantasy VII and onward, and had other things like what was it? What was that one that was in New York that was about like chromosomes or whatever?
Parasite Eve.
So
Parasite Eve.
thank you. Had some stuff like that, action RPGs and whatnot. And when Quest 64 came out, I was
Oof.
waiting like at the video store to rent it. I'm like, yes, an RPG for my favorite system. And I took it home. And two of you made responses. And
Yeah.
Mike, did you ever play Quest 64?
I haven't.
It's not good. It was a 3D RPG. It was one of those pioneers, and it tried to combine 3D graphics, very basic 3D graphics with RPG elements, and it was
It's super
it,
obtuse.
yeah. It has some of the level up sort of stuff from Final Fantasy 2 in that like the more you cast certain spells, the stronger they become. That's fine. It just takes forever for that to make a difference. And it's also one of those ones that, if I recall, the more you get hurt, the more your hit points increase when you level up and stuff. I don't know. It's been like, I was gonna say 20 years. I don't think that's inaccurate.
No, 20 years we were in college.
Oh dear lord. So it's been
Yeah.
over 20 years since I played it, but no, like I returned it from the rental, and playing an RPG, I'm usually like, okay, I'll want to rent it as soon as possible. I was like, I'm okay if I never play this again. Um,
That's how I felt about Castlevania 64.
I think
Yeah.
I'm sure people, I'm sure Quest 64, like other games, has people that fell in love with it. I tried, and it didn't happen for me.
Yeah.
And
As I always
luckily,
say when, something's bad and someone loves it, it's fine. You're allowed to like
yeah,
bad stuff. I like lots of bad stuff.
I I like things, and nothing frustrates me more than when somebody's like, "You shouldn't like that because blah blah blah." Um, when it comes to movies, when it comes to TV shows, books, or that sort of stuff, if somebody likes it, just leave it alone. Uh, but especially when it comes to games, because someone out there is really gonna love it, and as long as that game is not, what was it, Super Seducer or whatever it was a couple of years ago, that's just
Oh.
creepy. Yeah,
Oh.
as long, now that one you're not allowed to like. I'm sorry. That actually, yeah. But as long as it's not that, then you should then enjoy it and don't let anybody tell you you can't.
Just heard you brought up something in the chat. That health mechanic that you were talking about for Quest 64 didn't Final Fantasy 2 have a mechanic like that too?
Yeah, that's what Brian said.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That its
And
level
now that I
ups were
have
like Final Fantasy 2.
Yeah.
oh,
And now that I have the pixel remasters for 1 through 6, I am totally going to get into that cuz I have never 2 is one of the only games in the series I've never actually played. I've played the 3 on the DS, and I've certainly played the heck out of 4 and 6, and I even played 5 when it was ported over for the PlayStation. Not as much as the others, but I've never played 2, and when I get a break from work, I am sitting down and really digging into that. So, Pinball
Nice.
Witch asked if I'm playing 16. Is 16 on the PS4 or do you have to have a PS5? The short
It's
answer
on
I
is
have
I
no
have.
idea.
It's
Yeah,
only
it's only on
PS5.
PS5 right now.
Dang it! My answer should be self-evident from the fact that I didn't even know. But um, do people like it? I haven't really paid attention to the critical response. People were down on 15, and aside from the difficulty, I enjoyed 15. But
16 people seem to be like overwhelmingly meh about, just from what I've
That's the impression I'm getting too.
yeah, from what I've seen. It's not good, it's not bad. It's got some like problematic colonial slavery bits, but like other than that, it
And it's kind
nobody
it's
seems to
like
be coming out either way that it's good or bad. It just sort of is.
well,
yeah,
and
it's my understanding is uh if you are into like The Witcher 3, it feels a lot like that, but
Oh.
also with like Final Fantasy sort of sprinkled into it.
I've never played the Witcher series, but um, and that's kind of an interesting question right there. Is we have some of these what I'll say are legacy franchises in entertainment, whether it's video games, Mario, Sonic, Final Fantasy, Smash Brothers, F Zero, kind of, sort of, but Castlevania, um, Mega Man, and in entertainment, Star Wars comes to mind. But there's a lot of these. Um, Sometimes people kind of get upset. The Marvel universe, people almost get upset when there's just like a meh entry, and that can be a bit frustrating because like it doesn't detract from the rest of it. And shouldn't they be allowed to put out something? So like I feel like with Final Fantasy, because it's Final Fantasy, if there's one that's just kind of meh, then people act like that's the worst thing in
Lose
the
their
world.
minds, yeah.
Because yeah,
Which is weird because
uh,
so many of the Final Fantasies have been meh. So
Yeah.
but we look back on them with rose colored glasses. So, and now we have these high expectations. There are without getting into it a whole lot, there are now so many Star Wars projects between the old movies, the new movies, the TV shows, the books from before that Dirk has, and the books that they've been putting out since. They put out a couple new Thrawn books, and I've enjoyed those. And I know they're coming out with more. I think there's a book coming out soon called From a Certain Point of View, and it's supposed to be like various short stories exploring like the aftermath of the Battle of Endor and stuff. And I'm like, I could get into that. The point is, and weren't they doing something like about new, like the Old Republic or something? I didn't. I think I missed that. There's so much stuff
Okay, Brian,
that.
I'm not quite sure if you're being facetious or not. A
Which
certain
part?
point of view's been out for like a year. The High
Really?
Republic stuff's been out for almost a year.
Really?
Yeah,
I
they're going into phase 3 now of the High Republic, which is what you're talking about.
I am far behind on everything, I suppose. So no, dude, this is me being 100% honest. So, but there's so much stuff. Star Wars, again, the shows, Rebels, Clone Wars, which everybody said I would love, and I just couldn't get through the first season. And a lot of people were like, you need to get into like season 6, and I'm like, it's a
Yeah,
That's
long
too
way
many
from now.
seasons.
That's
it's
yeah,
it's one of the the Clone Wars was one of those where if you can get to the first 2 seasons, it gets better after that, but you have to have the first 2 seasons to kind of set up character development and arcs and things of that. Um, like Ahsoka goes through a huge transformation from being like the whiniest brat ever in the first season.
Why,
Like
whinier than
she
Anakin.
she is just an annoying brat in the first season. Um, to becoming like there's several character development stories that happen in the second season that makes her a much more developed and approachable character, but you have to have that first season of this is what the whiniest Padawan sounds like again the second film when you're hearing Anakin and everyone's like, oh my gosh, he's like the whiniest Jedi ever, and then you get to episode 3 and he's still whiny and moody, but he's not, but his character development arc has changed, so he's much more of a sympathetic character by 3, and that's why it's interesting to see his fall during 3.
Right.
Spoilers. Sorry.
I know.
But so where and my point being, while I do appreciate that, Dirk, is there's so much of it, and people are so invested in it that there are people that get upset when there are movies or TV shows or whatever that are not just like the best ever. When there's so much more stuff for you to choose from, it's almost like they're not allowed to make a bad TV show or movie or whatever. I mean, give them kind of a break. If you're done with the franchise, you still keep on to the things that you love, but anything like that is as big as it is going to be impossible to make stuff everybody loves all the time. That's just not how this works. Even the best series, that just doesn't happen. We did the tier list for the MCU a couple months back, and we even said, some of the worst ones on here weren't great, but they weren't terrible. But when you compare Thor to The Dark World to Infinity War, you're gonna notice the difference. So,
A couple months back, Brian said.
how long ago was it?
I don't know. I'm trying to find it.
Was it last
That
year?
that was July of last year. Yeah.
Couple months ago. I'm old. I'm old, man.
I was
I
like,
am not kidding.
that was the beginning of this year, right? No, it wasn't even that. Whoops.
Brian's already converted to the 70-month year.
Yeah.
70 months.
I am
That's
telling
almost
you,
a
man.
year.
I'm telling you, and I know it's real easy to be all like, jaded and like curmudgeonly, but yeah, I was telling
He's
Chewie,
gonna be falling apart or something.
in 3 years, my daughter could have, picked me up from the car dealership and driven me home. Or I guess she will in 3 years. 3 years.
Yep.
Yep.
I remember when we were playing Magic and she was in her high chair eating mashed vegetables.
Mashed vegetables. Yeah. The old
I feel
man
like
and
Star Wars
I.
made the jump to 3D pretty well. Sorry, go ahead.
The old man and I went to see an old friend of his who, like, when I walked in, he was like, And I was like, yeah, because he hadn't seen me since I was, like maybe 10. And now I'm like a grown ass man with back pain of my own. And he was like, and he just kept looking at me and then looking down and say, well, I can't say what he said on this show, but he's like, holy crap. And he'd look at me and he'd look down. Holy crap. And I'm like, yeah, it's me. He's like, last time I saw you, you were like, and he'd held his hand way down here. And I said, yeah, last time I saw you, you were a young man. And he just stopped and looked at me and went, yeah, all right.
Pinball in the chat says she remembers Sam quizzes. You guys remember Sam quizzes?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. I was explaining
those would have a different feel than those would have a different feel now.
Yeah,
She'd
I was
like,
explaining those to somebody. Was it Renee? Amanda? I was explaining Sam quizzes to somebody, and how you used to show Sam a card and she would describe it to us. And we would make that content for the show.
It's got a
and I was like that
purple thing and mountains.
Yeah. And I was like, that wouldn't work anymore because Sam's not an adorable kid who doesn't know what things are anymore. Now Sam's just a person.
Sam would be like, this is a tier 1 card. It got no, okay, she wouldn't like do that.
But yeah, but like we wouldn't get the the classic, there's the two chickens are talking to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah. That. I feel kind of
And I was like, yeah, like we could do that without Sam now by just Brian describing a card to us. It's like that's the reason we haven't done anything like that. It's because she's a person now. She's not, a wee little thing.
Yeah.
And then I felt really old after that. So I was like, Sam's like 12 or 13 now. How old is Sam?
She will be 13 soon.
And I was like,
yeah.
Like, that's not cool.
With you, buddy. We joke with her all the time, kind of like half joking, half not, about how she needs to shrink and go back. And, she has yet to do it.
Spoilers, she's not gonna.
I'm aware.
I can't wait for her to start looking at boys or girls or whatever. And I want to see your head explode. Something tells me that's going to cause Brian to have a major existential crisis, and we're all going to have to be there for him.
Have an intervention for him on the podcast.
Like, we'll hear a strange sound in the background. What you doing, Brian? Cleaning my new shotgun? Excuse me?
It's hilarious you don't think I already have one.
Cleaning my old shotgun, then.
Need to find out exactly how long it can be sawed off to.
I don't know the details about that. I technically own a sawed-off shotgun, but it's like so old and decrepit it'd probably explode if anyone tried to fire it. It's like, when I say old, I mean like 1860s old.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
One that has not been oiled or maintained in a long time.
No. Yeah, I got it. I think I'm trying to remember who Grandpa Shiver got it from. I think it belonged to his grandfather. It belonged to his grandfather. And part of the story was that his grandfather bought it new and then sawed off a little bit of it to make it better for hunting birds. And like that was usually something you did with an old gun. And his wife was so upset with him for doing that to a brand new gun that he just bought that she didn't talk to him for like a week.
Mhm. See, I'm curious that I know my mom has a shotgun, and I have no idea which is either my brother or I is going to end up getting it. I have no, I have no idea who's end up with that one. But that's when she lived up in Alaska, because that was actually like she actually went hunting up there.
Gentlemen, this has actually been a lot of fun, and I've made it a little longer than I thought, but I am having trouble keeping my eyes open. I'm going to bid you all adieu, and I will let you know next week if I'm going to be able to participate or not. Thanks, everybody in the chat. This has been great. Chifuji, Pinball, awesome. Good to talk to everybody. And I'm already 404, I see. That's on the ball. That is appropriate. I'm going to go to bed now.
I'm good at this. Night, Brian.
Good night, Brian.
Hey, Odin's son with a 74-month resub on a 74-month streak. Holy crap.
It's over a year.
That's over a year at this point. Dang.
Yep.
Man. I've never done anything for 74 months. No, wait. Other than this. Man, we've been all over the place tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. There's been a couple that like just the video game stuff, and you know, it is okay sometimes to put out mediocre product of something, or that if something is considered mediocre, it's okay that does happen. Because just like in the Zelda stuff, some of the mediocre ones, like Zelda 2, I think would probably have been, a lot of people would consider it to be mediocre, but it actually would be classified that because it tried to do something different than the first game.
Yeah, there are a lot. Like, I'm fascinated by the old sequels. Like, before video game sequels were, like, a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Castlevania 2 was a completely different animal from Castlevania. Zelda 2 was a completely different animal from Legend of Zelda. In the US, Super Mario Brothers was a completely different animal. Or Super Mario 2.
Yep.
Uh, and like those are just, you know, the first three that come to mind. But there were a lot of the old video games where like Pac-Man 2 was like not even Pac-Man. It was some sort of weird ass adventure game. Like
Yeah, some of those were just, oh, we have this other game. Let's let's use the same characters and give it the same name, and people who like the previous game will buy this one.
Well, and there's been modern ones that have kind of done that too, like Kingdom Hearts. The first one was, like action slash, sort of game with had some puzzles, but it was like a a 3D RPG. The second one was a card game.
well, no, I'm talking like numbered sequels, not like spin-offs. Cuz like Kingdom Hearts is a whole freaking study in and of itself with
that
it.
one right there. And even then they'd be like, "Oh, well, this one wasn't great and everything." Well, yeah, but there are also some that if you look at them, they're not even, you can't even port the game completely over because it's just a jumbled mess, like a 365 over 4 day, whatever it was, where all they do is we're just going to give you the cutscenes. Just watch the cutscenes. This will help push the story. Don't worry about playing the game. Just watch the cutscenes.
Yeah, that's what they did for the the collections later. Is what Dirk is talking about. For those of you that don't know, yeah. But like early video game sequels are a fascinating thing, and like all three of those that I rattled off the top of my head, you know, Mario, Zelda, Castlevania, have all been like on, you know, by more modern people, but like there wasn't a Zelda formula for them to follow. There wasn't a Castlevania formula for them to follow. They were like, hey, let's do something else. And they did.
Which is part of the reason why once Zelda actually started having its own thing and its own rhythm and all, when they were talking about, all right, well, let's put it in a chronological order and everything, it was really hard to do that. Because
I still think a Zelda timeline is stupid and pointless.
Well, and that's the thing, is that the original, you know, the people who did originally are like, this wasn't supposed to be a timeline. It's just a game. Don't worry about trying to put it into a timeline. And eventually they were like, okay, you guys are bothering us about this now. We're just going to give you something and leave us alone.
Yeah, like, and this is before, like, the freaking, I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I do. It is one of my favorite things that has happened in pop culture ever. But too many other things are trying to, like, do what it did. Like, oh yeah, the Godzilla Monsterverse movies. They're just a series of movies, y'all. Like, stop. We had series of movies before the MCU. Everything wasn't a cinematic universe. There's not a Lethal Weapon cinematic universe. There were just 4 Lethal Weapon movies. Stop.
Like the Fast and the Furious, I have no idea if those are linked to each other in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, like those are all sequels. I mean, they jump around in the timeline, but those are all related. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a bunch of the same characters between them.
Yeah, and plot points that follow along from movie to movie. I've never seen any of them, but I'm just aware of these things.
Yeah, I know it has something to do with family.
No. Family.
Family.
Because we're a family. Like, there might not be a B. It might just be family. Famlee.
Without the L in it.
No, that'd be fammy. Hang on.
Oh, so the I is missing in between M and L.
Yeah, it's family.
Family.
And you gotta say it like family. Like, you can't say it family, it's family.
Kind of like America.
America. Yeah, see, exactly. You get it. Pinball Witch says it's meat anime. That is by far the best expression I've heard for what they are. Yeah. Like, the first few movies were smaller in scale and kind of, if you weren't a car guy, they were kind of lame. And then at some point, either like 4 or 5, they flipped the switch and said, we're going to go completely insane. And that's what you do. And that's what they did. And that's what happened. So like the Mission Impossible movies.
Did they do a Tokyo Drift movie at some point that was like a spin-off?
No, that was 3.
That was the third one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Although they do have spin-offs now, because there was that Hobbs and Shaw, I think. That movie was a spin-off from Fast and Furious, I think, right? I'm pretty sure that's right. Again, I've never actually seen any of these, but oh god, where was I about to go? Hang on. What did you... Oh, I was going to go from something to another related topic, and it completely fell off. Tokyo Drift. Spin-offs. Nope, I got nothing.
Fast and Furious.
Oh, Mission Impossible. Yeah, like the first Mission Impossible movie was so good, and it was like clever and subtle, And then the second one was John Woo and was terrible for a Mission Impossible movie. Like, as just a random action movie, it's fine. You know, it's whatever. But then 3, they tried to recapture it. And then I think it was 4 was where Tom Cruise decided, hey, we're going to start doing crazy stunts and I'm going to do them. And it's going to be a whole defining factor of the movies. And it was either 4 or 5. I think it was 4 where that started. And that's been what it is ever since. It's the Mission Impossible movies are an excuse for Tom Cruise to learn some sort of crazy new stunt skill and then do it. And then there's a movie that also is happening.
And show off that he can do it.
Yeah. And like I said, there's a movie that's also happening around all that. And, like, I've seen all of them but the new one. They're all really freaking good. But they're not, you know... I still really love the first one because it was, you know, clever and subtle and you had to, like, pay attention. Oh, God. I don't remember if I tried watching it with Lex's dad or if he was just telling me how he watched it. Lex's dad had, like, no attention span, which worries me because he was an anesthesiologist. But but he had no attention span for movies. Like, if it was longer than, like, 30 minutes, he was not going to follow. And he was telling somebody how he watched a movie, and I think it was Mission Impossible. He's like, you watch the first 30 minutes, you go away and do something else. You come back, you watch the last 30 minutes, you go away and you do something else. And then you watch the second 30 minutes. And I'm just sitting there twitching as he's telling this person this. I was like, you're destroying the very concept of cinema. Like...
It's not Memento where, you know, the movies run backwards.
Yeah, like Cecil B. DeMille is going to rise from his grave and kill you for even suggesting that. And yeah, just but because the movie wasn't super straightforward, he absolutely could not follow it. And, like, looking back on it, if you've seen the first Mission Impossible movie now, which is, you know, it's what, 25 years old or something, it's not that complicated. Like, anyway, all of the later ones are way more straightforward, though.
I haven't seen any of them, so I can't confirm that. Or
Oh, dude, they're so good. Henry Cavill cocks his arms like they're guns before he proceeds to punch the living crap out of somebody. He had a mustache. There were people who couldn't follow The Matrix. Oh, God, was it The Matrix he was talking about? The Matrix, to be fair, those movies are complicated. Like,
yeah,
like there's a bit of conceptual work that you have to do to understand what's going on. Like, it took me forever to realize what happened in the room where he pokes the mirror and then it engulfs him and goes down his throat. Like, the mechanics of that took me a long time to understand exactly what was happening. So, like, people not getting The Matrix, I sort of... Wait, Pinball said, no, just the fact it was 2 realities was too much. Oh. Oh, that's the easy part. Like the way people couldn't follow each of the layers of the dream in Inception. I don't remember having a problem with Inception, although I haven't seen it in years. Every time I think, let's watch Inception again, I look at it and it's like 3 hours long or something, and I go, or I could do literally anything else.
Yeah. I'm surprised the two worlds thing is a difficulty for the Matrix, because in one world they look normal, and the other one they're all like schlubby and dystopian.
Yeah, not to mention there's the green filter on everything in the fake world and the blue filter in their real world, so it's blatantly obvious. Mm-hmm. But, you know, some people don't think that way, I guess. You know, whatever works, I guess. Man, the new Matrix movie was so good. I need to watch that again. I only watched it the once.
Is that one?
Hey!
Bless you.
Ow! What was that? I'm sorry, I was dying.
Which one was it that's the newest one?
I don't know, the new one. What was the new one called? Pinball Resurrection?
Directions.
Yeah, Resurrections? I think that's it. Oh, God, my head. Or my nose. Or my nasal area. Oh. Yeah, Resurrections. It got a lot of crap from, like, the mainstream media because it wasn't a bang bang shoot 'em up, blow everything up. It was much more about the, like, it's much more about the emotional side of all of that. And the people who wanted more bang bang shoot 'em up freaked out because it wasn't that. Like, I took it for what it was and thought it was amazing. So, you know. Like Barbie. Oh my God. Barbie was amazing. Were we? We had already started the show when we had that conversation, right? That wasn't before the show.
I don't remember. That was so long ago.
Yeah, right?
I'm so old.
We haven't even been recording for an hour and a half yet, and yet we're like, what? What did we talk about?
Yeah.
Bad at this game.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch. But, yeah, to reiterate, I highly recommend Barbie. The trailers did not tell you what the movie was about. Like, you got the beginning of it with Barbie going to the real world, and then things go awry. But there's a whole lot more going on than that, and it's much more than just, oh no, Barbie's in the real world, what do? That part doesn't even last very long, the what do part. But yeah, I was blown away by Barbie. Yeah. And again, the fact that all the right-wing dickheads hate it is absolutely a sign that it's probably pretty good. Chifuji said, outside of my Barbie viewing, there was some guy complaining to his wife and daughters, there's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. And she quickly retorted, shut up, I heard you laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
Quiet, you. You enjoyed it. Don't act like you didn't.
If you're gonna posture first, make sure you know who was there to witness you.
Right?
Before. Make sure you're not posturing to the same person who saw what was happening earlier.
Yeah, the old man was like, you're going to see what? I said, Barbie. He said, why? I was like, because it looks awesome. He's like, I think I'd rather watch flies have sex than go see Barbie. I was like, old man, you'd rather watch flies have sex than watch most movies. And he thought about it. He went, yeah, all right. I was like, shut up. It's going to be awesome. And then he asked me, so was Barbie any good? I was like, yeah, it was amazing. He was like, wait, really? I was like, you wouldn't like it. And I looked at Mom. I said, I think you would like it. She went, well, of course I would. Yeah, Greta Gerwig, I don't actually know how you say her name. I've only ever seen it written. Is a hell of a filmmaker. And I saw a thing on Twitter from the well, about the like production designers
Hmm.
who said that like Barbie was oh, here it is. The who is this person? Yeah, the production designer did some measurements of Barbie the toy and Barbie like her environment, like the dream house and whatnot. And they realized that Barbie is roughly 23% bigger than the space that she's in. So they translated that to the movie.
Hmm.
So like Barbie looks like she's too big for her dream house and she's way too big for her car. It looks very like a toy. And that really added to the surreal nature of it. And then there are two, I think just two, there might be more actually, big dance scenes. One of them, you were specifically told there's going to be a big dance scene later. And then the other one just pops up out of nowhere. Big ass, massive musical number. And I was here for it. When the second one popped up, because it pops up in the most what time? Like there's this whole other thing going on, and then suddenly it's a dance off. And I was like, yeah. So yeah. Hashtag not sponsored, but I really dug Barbie. And Renee really liked it. And the kid really liked it. So yeah. Amanda asked the kid how it was, and the kid was like, life-changing. I was like, ho! I don't know if I'd go that far, but it
Wow.
was really damn good.
Well, when you're young, the bar for life changing is a lot lower.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it did change my life in that before I saw Barbie was my pre-Barbie era. And now that I've seen Barbie, I'm in my post-Barbie era. But I don't think there's that much difference in the two eras because of Barbie itself. But it was really good. I can't like give more away because it's better to go in blind on Barbie. Like the trailers did a good job of getting you hooked and then but not showing you too much, you know, unlike so many films these days. I still haven't seen the second Shazam because I'm pretty sure the trailer showed the whole movie. Like I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
Like when I saw the full trailer in the theater before a Marvel movie or something, I looked at Mom and I said, "I think that's the whole movie." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, I'm pretty sure they just gave away the whole movie." She goes, "Oh," and Chifuji said it did. Ah, well, piss. That's too bad, because I really did enjoy the first one, but yeah. DC seems determined to just keep stepping on their dicks with their movies. So, you know, whatever.
That's what I keep hearing. They just don't seem to get it.
Yeah, they don't because they're not like Kevin Feige's thing is, "Hey, make the movie you want to make, just be sure you have like this and this in it." And that seems to be it. Like the MCU was not planned out from the beginning. They're just really good at fitting things to what's come before and making it seem like this was all a big plan. But DC's issue or Warner Brothers issue seems to be they won't just let a filmmaker make a damn movie. They want to get in and dictate crap. Like, Justice League was bad, and I'm pretty sure that if Zack Snyder's like personal tragedy hadn't happened and he had to step away and they got Joss Whedon to come in and finish it, like if none of that had happened, I still don't think it would have been better. I think it would have been different but same level of quality, which was low. But like, they made Wonder Woman, they made Aquaman, those are both awesome. They made Shazam, those three were awesome, and they just can't seem to. Oh, and the second Suicide Squad. But those are the times they let a filmmaker make a movie. But then with the bigger stuff, they can't seem to let it go. Like, The Flash came out and has done a wet fart. It's been in the works for like 6 years or something. And it's finally released and it goes...
Yeah, which I bet is especially embarrassing after they killed all that other stuff that had been in development.
Well, that was for tax purposes because David Zaslav is an idiot. Pinball said it's not even worth being a meme like Morbius, right? Like, like the internet trolled Sony so hard. They're like, yeah, if you re-release Morbius, we'll go see it. And they re-released Morbius, and literally nobody went to see it.
That was so ridiculous.
Yeah, talk about like executives not being able to read the room. Like, can you not tell that they're laughing at you? Like, look at how many people... Look, it's Morbin time is trending. Oh, for Christ's sake. We got to get it back out into theaters. It'll make a killing in a second run. It made $7. And now all of the movie studio executives are trying to just kill the industry, I guess. Rather than pay writers and actors what they're worth. They're like, you know what? We're just gonna let it burn.
Probably how we ended up with a lot of mediocre stuff now anyway.
What do you mean?
There was no... So one of the things they want is the writer's room to come back where they can actually like talk and discuss and everything. So you probably have different writers who, depending on the movie, going, oh, this would be great, let's do this. And no one was there and be like, that's probably a bad idea.
Yeah, well, the way that they're working, at least like Netflix, the way that Netflix works for like TV shows now is they have like a script for like each episode or a rough script, and they just pay some writers to come in for like a couple days and punch it up. Rather than have a team of writers writing the series, they've got like rough estimates of what they want it to be, and they pay some writers a short bit to punch it up rather than paying a full suite of writers a full season's worth because it's cheaper. And like, yeah, it's cheaper, all right. Cheap meaning lesser quality cheaper. Yeah, like the whole industry is completely screwed. And like if all of the studio executives gave up some tiny fraction of the CEOs only, not all the executives, but if they gave like a tiny fraction, gave up a tiny fraction of their hyperinflated salary, then it could be that like the artists could all get what they are demanding, and it would be over tomorrow. But they want to hold on to as much of their money as they can because it's their money, because they, in their minds, earned it by sitting in a room and making stupid decisions. But then that's me going off on corporate America in general, which is a thing that I've despised my entire life. So...
Easily a topic we could go on forever.
Yeah, like, I've stopped myself from getting started too hard, because I totally could.
Well, with that, I'm going to need to head on to bed. So,
Oh, now we've lost Dirk.
Yep. So, you guys have a wonderful evening, and keep an eye out for, or hopefully the writers and actors and everybody who are actually going to get paid what they're worth.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Like, I just want people to get what they deserve. I want the writers and actors to get, like, the new rules and whatnot to protect them. And I want, like, Trump to go to prison forever. Like, just let people get what they deserve.
Nothing big, nothing major.
Yeah, like, I don't want him to be loaded into a cannon and shot into space. Not really. It would be funny, but not really. Like,
he just needs to be prosecuted like anybody else would.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, guys.
Night, Zerk.
Good night.
I was wondering if Zerk would take the bait and get sucked back in, but he's smarter than that. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
I got nothing.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, I saw a bit of magic-related news that made me feel better. Recently, so Post Malone is now the owner of the One Ring.
You know what? I meant to bring that up while the other dorks were still here, and it completely slipped my mind.
Yeah, slipped my mind too while they were still here. Yeah, so it's not to some shop; it's to a big fan who can't afford it.
Yeah, it's not to some investor jackass.
Yep.
Yeah, it was probably one of the best possible outcomes.
Yeah.
If we're being realistic. Now, if only he will go to an active volcano and drop it in, then it will be the best thing ever, but I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not get greedy. We have a good outcome. It doesn't need to be the height of comedy as well. It can just be good.
But it could be, Mike. It could be the
It
height of
could
comedy. Ouch. Chifuji said 2.6 million, and the guy who founded got to meet him. I mean, I guess that's a plus. I don't know.
Yeah, if you're into that thing.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Like, all I know about Post Malone is he did Sunflower on the Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack, and he plays Magic. That's literally everything I know about him. I take it he's some sort of musician.
He is.
Post
think I
Malone
read
did do
somewhere
Sunflower, right? I didn't just screw that up.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that song. There were other. I mean, the only songs that I could say I actually know of his are ones that were on BeatStar when I still played that. But
Okay, it was Sunflower. Phew.
oh, it's good. I also read somewhere that playing Guitar Hero inspired him to get into music for real.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just a couple days ago on Facebook, I saw a couple of people I'm friends with had shared pictures of them sitting around playing Commander with Post Malone.
Mm-hmm.
From some it was Omar Hernandez and Andrew, what's his last name? McGreeny, I want to say, and a third person I didn't recognize, and Post Malone playing Commander from, I don't know, a year or 2 or 6 or 8 or whenever ago. I don't know.
Right.
What is time? And I was like, oh yeah. Who's that dude again? Like, but yeah, that's again probably the best possible outcome if we're being
probably.
if we're being realistic.
Yeah.
Like, he's not gonna, use it for leverage for anything or for clout, because he's already got clout outside of Magic. So what the hell is clout inside Magic?
Yeah, he's already super famous.
Yeah. So yeah, good on him. Pinball said he just seems like just a normal dude mostly for a rich celebrity.
That's the impression I get.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. But yeah, I doubt Mike or not your Mike. What's the other guy's name?
Brian? Dirk?
Thomas. Stark. Billy Bub. But yeah, I doubt Dirk is aware, and I'm only 50-50 on if Brian is aware. So oh well. We'll bring it up at some point in the group text. By the way, did you see who got the win ring? It was Sauron. No. But yeah, I've been playing Doom. Like the 2016 Doom still. It's still really good. Nobody comes to the streams. I don't know why nobody cares about Doom, but but it's a lot of fun. It's like as far from normal ass first person shooters I think as you can get. Oh, you were typing. That's why you didn't bother to respond to anything. Gotcha.
No, I can't. I can't hear and read at the same time.
It's true, yeah. So yeah, I said I've been playing Doom.
Okay, yeah, I've seen notifications for that pop in.
Yeah, it is. Nobody comes to the stream, so I don't know why nobody cares about Doom, because it is awesome. Like the just this, you have like the kinetic aspect of it. Like when it gives you one of these big ass multi-level rooms to run around in, you know that one, you're going to get hit with a massive horde of several different kinds of enemies, and two, you're going to have to use the whole room. And it's a lot of fun. I just got the BFG on the last stream. And like, so in this game, the chainsaw and the BFG are not regular weapons.
Okay, how so?
So the chainsaw only has, I think it's 5 units of fuel, which is ammo. And when you use it, the amount of, it's an instant kill to whatever you use it on, but it uses a certain amount of ammo based on how big the enemy is.
Okay.
So like if you just knock off, oh, thank you for the bits, Pinball. Have a good night. Thanks for coming to hang out. It's good to see you. But like if you just use it on an imp, it's going to use up like 1 fuel. But when you use but if you use it on like a big ass, thing, it could use 4 or 5 fuel units. But when you use the chainsaw, It's an instant kill, and it drops like a plethora of all the types of ammo. So like the idea is most of the all of the enemies have like especially one weapon that just destroys them. Like I finally figured out to use the chain gun on the pinkies. I could not figure out how to kill the pinkies effectively in this damn game. I'm like throwing rockets at them and they're just like looking at me like, no. I'm like, what the hell? But if I point a chain gun at it, before it runs all the way to me, it's going to start flashing so I can do a glory kill. I'm like, oh, that's nice. But like the idea is to run around and use whatever appropriate weapon for whatever's coming at you without worrying about ammo. And then when you get low on whatever kind of ammo you want to use, just whip out your chainsaw and kill something that, you know, would otherwise be a problem. And it barfs out just an ass load of different types of ammo, and then you pick it all up. And now you're reloaded, and that thing's dead.
That's neat.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. So you're saying Doom 2016 is also Mega Man. Sorta, yeah, except instead of bosses having a weakness, it's like all the enemy types have a weakness. Like I found out last night that the Revenants, the guys with the rocket launchers on their shoulders, the skeletons with the rocket launchers on their shoulders, apparently the what is that thing called? It's like a railgun. It uses plasma energy though, but it's like a plasma rifle. Not a plasma, because the plasma rifle is your regular plasma goes, brrr, you know. But it's like a plasma sniper rifle, I guess. It's like one shot, one kill. And I've got a mod on it that lets you charge up a shot for more damage. And I charged up at one of them and shot it, and he started flashing, meaning I could get in close for a glory kill after one hit. And I was like, what the hell?
Wow.
It's like, that's a game changer. What? And the Hell Knights are weak against the super shotgun, I found out. And the stupid pinkies are apparently weak against the chain gun. I say weak against, but that just seems to be the best weapon to use against them. Not necessarily... Gauss Cannon, that's the one. Thank you, Odin-san. But, yeah, as I'm learning all this... And I put it on the hardest difficulty that was available to start the game. Because that way... Like, I have to engage with the mechanics rather than just shotgun, kill everything, yay!
Right.
Because that's the thing I've learned in some games, is that a harder difficulty makes you learn how to play properly. Like, I learned that with Resident Evil 4. I've learned that with Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's what I've heard about things like The Witcher 3, is if you're playing on normal difficulty, you could always just, like... kill things, but on higher difficulties you have to plan ahead and use all of your potions or whatever it is that he makes. And I was like, oh. So I've been trying to do that with other games like Spider-Man. It didn't work because Spider-Man just enemies just have more health and do more damage, so that meh. But, you know, anyway. Also, but at that point, that was New Game Plus, so, like, Spidey was already fully kitted out, so there's really... Yeah.
But in a case like that, I mean, you're just playing the same way, except you just got to be a little tighter.
Exactly, yeah. But, yeah, anytime I try to plant and kill things, I just die. And I'm like, right, can't do that in this game. Gotcha. Okay. Always be running. Always be running. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you, Doomslayer. Oh, look, a power-up. Do not grab the power-up. The power-up is there because later you will almost crap yourself and you will need it. That's another thing I learned. Like, at one point, I kept dying. Like, I'd kill all of these enemies, and then, like, a whole nother horde would spawn, and I would just die. Just dead. Like, damn it. And I'm like, oh, wait, there's a power-up over there. I bet that's here for this. So I'd pick up the power-up, and it was a Berserk. And Berserk in this game is amazing. And so then I just batted away literally everything there. And I survived. I was like, oh. So later when I saw a quad damage power-up just hanging out, I'm like, I'm going to leave that until I need it. And then later I was like, Jesus Christ, I need it! Ah! So, yeah, it's forcing me to learn how to play the game, learn enemy weaknesses, learn how to recover ammo, etc., etc., etc. And it's awesome. The thing that I don't like about it is trying to find the secrets. It just drives me up the wall. I'm like, I see it. It's right there. And I'll spend like 20 minutes on stream looking around. I don't know how to get there. How do I get there? I know I got to come from that direction. So I'll go that direction and there's nothing. I'm like, starting at like the first level the first level is a tutorial level, but in like the first real level,
Okay.
I'm like, there's a secret up there. How the hell do I get up there? I don't even know. So yeah. And there's a lot of like things to do. Like each level has 3 like challenges
Right.
to do. Like on this last level I did, one of the challenges was like get the 2 collectibles. Well, all right. I was going to try to do that anyway. One of them was get the 2 rune trials, which is a whole other thing I'll get to in a second. And the third one was do 5 of this type of glory kill on this type of enemy. Because glory kills change based on what side of the monster you're on and where you're looking. So it's like, get 5 of these on the possessed, which are the little bitch, regular enemies that are there to do glory kills on to get health refills.
Okay.
Because glory kills make health pop out. And thank God. So, and it explained, you have to be behind it and look at its head or its lower right leg. All right. And that's harder to do than you think, because when the enemy's staggered and waiting for a glory kill, it doesn't just stand still so you can point your mouse and click. Like, it's like lolling around and staggering and whatnot. And if I hadn't died so many times in this one room, I would have never gotten it. But I died so many times that I was able to get, 1 or 2 every go around.
Right.
But the runes give you, like, there's a little challenge. Like, all right, kill some number of kill all the enemies, and with each kill you get an extra 3 seconds, and your timer's 15 seconds. Go. Using this one weapon. So you have to figure out your path through the little area. Or like,
Right.
kill this many enemies with explosive barrels only. Like, oh, Jesus. Or whatever. And when you get a rune, it's like a relic, essentially, in a Final Fantasy game. You have a limited number of slots, and they do a thing. Like, one of them is a vacuum orb makes you suck up health and ammo pickups from further away. But each rune has its own little, like, level up quest to do. So there's always something to be, like, working towards. Like, I'm still working on the one that's pick up 500 ammo pickups. Like, oh, that's a lot. And there's one that was like, hey, you can get armor from glory kills. And if you pick up, it was like, I don't know, 2,500 armor or something, then it upgrades to, I think, a higher chance of something or something. I don't remember. So I was like, I'm constantly working on those in addition to just getting through the level and finding secrets and killing enemies and doing the challenges in each level. And so there's a lot to, like, keep your brain going. Plus, as you find secrets and whatnot and kill enemies and do find secrets, you get weapon upgrade points to add functionality to your weapons. It's not just do more damage, like it's functionality to your weapon mods.
Okay.
Which is really cool. So the game is constantly like giving you new things to work towards and rewarding you for it, which, thank goodness. Like I can get, once I upgrade whatever this last rune I found, I don't remember, but the upgrade thing is you can find BFG ammo from glory kills. And I was like, ho ho! Oh yeah, I started all this. I told you about the chainsaw. So the chainsaw is not a weapon you use, but it's like a resource management tool. And the BFG is like an oh dear god, I'm gonna die reset button. Like the BFG only holds 3 shots. And when you first get it, it gives you this room that's just full of the basic ass regular enemy. So you can use your BFG and watch them all explode, and it was awesome. But whatever you pointed at and fire will be vaporized, and it'll shoot out little tendrils to any other enemies around and blow them up too. But again, you only get 3 shots. So if you can find more ammo for that, then so yeah, it's another resource management tool in a different way than the chainsaw. You're using this extremely limited ammo to save you a whole lot of your other ammos.
Right.
So yeah, like I really like it. It's exhausting. I don't think I've made it a full 3 hours, which is about what I aim for on any given stream. I don't think I've made it a full 3 hours playing Doom yet, because it is exhausting. Like I don't, there are people who are like, yeah, I beat it in like 4 days. I'm like, you're insane. Because I get tired trying to keep up with everything, all of this stuff. After about 2.5 hours, I realized that I've forgotten I have a chainsaw. I'm like, all right, I gotta stop. I'm not playing the game anymore. I'm just sort of shooting at things. But yeah. But it's got me hooked. Like, I'm super excited to keep playing. The only reason I'm not done with it already is because, I thought I had limited time with Renee. So I was like, yeah, I'm not streaming. I got to spend as much time as possible with Renee. So. But now that that's not a going concern, I can get back to it. Ha ha ha. I wonder if there are spider demons in this game. I haven't seen any yet, but you remember cacodemons? The big red things with the one eye?
Oh, yeah, the big round things. Yes.
Yeah. Those things are terrifying in this game because I haven't figured out what weapon works on them yet. They're awful. And everything does so much damage, Mike. That's why you have to learn how to do glory kills. So you've got to be all up in the business of these critters. Like anytime I accidentally have the super shotgun out and I blow away an imp in one shot, I'm like, damn it. But yeah. Anyway. We should probably stop.
Yeah, probably.
Because you seem like you're fading now, too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Will you have anything here at the end to finish up on? Oh my god, Odin's son said, I have a plushy cacodemon on my desk. I bet. Like, is it a Doom 2 cac? I love the Doom 2 cac. Like, its design. I bet that in plush is adorable. I'm gonna look that up.
He also they also mentioned earlier chain gun also being most effective against pinkies in the original game because of how it just stun locks them. And I was wondering if you were going to say the same thing about the new one, about the reason it's so effective against them. Because yeah, they'll, even though they're running, I mean, they'll stop when they get a hit, and the chain gun just generates so many hits that they just kind of stand in one place.
Yeah. The pinkies in this game seem to have like a shield. Because like I have unloaded just stupid amounts of shotgun ammo into them, and they don't seem to be phased. They're like, yeah, whatever, don't care. And then they charge at you, like they build up steam and charge at you and try to slam you into a wall, and like Olay, you have to jump out of the way. Yeah. Having the double jump in a Doom game is tripping me the hell out, by the way. But yeah, but like I thought I had to Olay them and then turn and shoot them in the back, and they still got like the shield looking thing when I shoot at them, and I'm like, but the chain gun seems to burn through their shield, if that's what it is. I still don't know, the specifics of how this game works. So it might not be a shield, that just might be how it shows damage. But with others, you don't hit like a purple field, so I don't think that's how it shows damage. And I'm looking at a plush Cacodemon, and it is, in fact, adorable. Like, I sort of want to feed him something. Like, hold out a donut to him. Like, huh? And I pull my hand away real quick. Ouch. But, yeah, I very rarely use the chain gun just because it takes a second to spin up, and it's kind of horribly inaccurate. But I just tried it while one was charging down a hallway at me, and it died before it got to me, and then the one behind it died right before it got to me, and I was like, huh. All right. So, like, I don't know if, like, I have to do damage in, like, quickly. Because, again, shooting rockets at this thing, it doesn't seem to care. I had so much trouble the first time it threw a pinky at me. I was like, I don't know how to kill it! Yeah, I don't know. I figure once I'm done with the game, I will do some, like, digging on a wiki or something to figure out how all this works. But I don't want to... Like, I want to figure it out myself, so I haven't done any of that.
Yeah. I wonder if there was a little bit of something like, at least a little bit of something like that in Serious Sam that I didn't actually pick up on, with like certain weapons being more appropriate against certain enemies. I do remember finding out that if you could hit the skeletal centaur things with the double shotgun, like just right, it could kill them in one hit, but it was kind of hard to do.
Oh, gosh. Sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to give you a flashback.
I used to love playing Serious Sam.
I only ever played whichever one was the first one they put on the Xbox 360, like the arcade. I downloaded it, and I don't think I got the idea of a strafe FPS until I played that. Because you have to constantly be running sideways in a Serious Sam game. Like, there's no planting, there's no strategic. It's run sideways and shoot. Backwards and sideways. Backwards and sideways. I don't think I appreciated it much at the time. I would probably really like it now. I remember the first time, like, a horde of those headless guys was running at me. I'm like, what is going on? I think Scott lived here, and I think he came back from his room and was like, what in the hell are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, I'm dying.
Let's see. Trying to figure out which one it was. Did you start out in like a ancient Egypt looking setting or a jungle setting?
It was a desert, yeah.
Desert. Okay, then it was the first serious Sam game.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the first one they remade or remastered or something for the 360. It's a weird ass game, dude.
It is, and the developers did some really interesting things with the engine they came up with.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, just for how big the levels could be and how many enemies could be running around at once without causing major problems for the machine. And
Yeah. Yeah, I bet on like an older PC back in the day that was like super something to see. Whereas, you know, on the 360 that was sort of whatever. Yeah. Well, anyway. I guess we should stop.
yeah, we should.
Yeah. So, what I will say, though, is you should totally go to patreon.com/themanapool and consider becoming a lifeguard, because it really does help. You can get the odds and ends, get shows early. I'm slowly catching up on odds and ends. I'm up to this year. I'm only like 9 or 10 episodes behind now, as opposed to the many that I've been behind for so long. It's amazing. So you've got years worth of behind the scenes crap to listen to. You can follow along with our lives, which is really strange to say, but we really did talk about everything going on with all of us in the pre and post show, like we used to do during the show, but we don't really do that so much these days other than final thoughts. But yeah, takes me back talking about like old games I've played, and you guys talking about, like, all of us talking about games and movies and world events. I was like, wow, that's a thing that happened, isn't it? I forgot all about that. Wow, it's been pretty cool. Because I listen back through them, you know, when I post them, and since the ones I was posting were from like the middle of last year up until recently, you know, it was a trip. Like, oh yeah, that did happen. What the hell? Hey Mike, you remember the time that happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. But anyway. But yeah, you can get all of that, or you can get the Mythic Lifeguard sponsorship shout out. So let me thank Al, Kim Ho, Scuzzo, John Parker, Jake Jansons, Beardy Man, Team Hillis How Are You, Jason Kaus, Cody Buckowing, Casey, almost dropped my drink, Pinball Witch, Jason Doan, ALK Alters, and Andrew Odie. Yay. So thank you all so very much for your support, and to all of you at every tier, and all of you listening or watching or whatever. We appreciate it. But yeah, with that, we will be done with this Dorks Just Chatting episode. So thank you all so very much for joining us, and watch out for an army of Kins coming after you, or an army of demons. You handle those in two completely different ways, but be aware either way.